Ok, buen día. Vamos a hablar de algunas diferencias entre el pretérito y el imperfecto. Estamos en lección 10. Este es el segundo video. Okay. The preterite, sometimes you see it written with an E, sometimes you don't. The preterite and the imperfect are not interchangeable. In Spanish, the choice between these two tenses depends on the context and on the point of view of the speaker. So we see a couple examples where we can see both the preterite and the imperfect being used together. So first we have me rompí el brazo cuando estaba paseando en bicicleta y tenía dolor de cabeza, pero me tomé una aspirina y se me fue. Okay, so I broke my arm when I was bicycling, and I had a headache, but I took some aspirin and it went away. Okay, so we see a little bit of difference here where the first sentence starts off with the preterite and ends with the imperfect, and the second one starts with the imperfect and ends with the preterite. They can be used in the same sentences. Okay, so let's look at some of these differences. Okay, so we use the preterite to express actions that are viewed by the speaker, and if you're writing, we can say the writer, as being completed. So something like Andra se rompió la pierna, so Sandra broke her leg. Fueron a Buenos Aires ayer, so they went to Buenos Aires yesterday. Whereas the imperfect describes an ongoing past action, and doesn't have a reference to the beginning nor the end. Okay? So Sandra esperaba al doctor. So taken out of the air, we would say that Sandra was waiting for the doctor. El médico se preocupaba por sus pacientes. So the doctor worried about his patients. We're not focusing on when he started worrying or when Sandra started waiting. We're not focusing when her waiting ended or when his worrying ended. We're focused more on that action in between the beginning and end. Okay? What was going on during that time. Okay, so another use of the preterite is to express the beginning or end of a past action. We use it a lot with verbs like empezar, comenzar, and terminar, which just by their meaning focuses on the beginning or the end. So, la película empezó a las 9. So the movie began at 9 o'clock. Ayer terminé el proyecto para la clase de química. So yesterday I finished the project for chemistry class. Okay, whereas the imperfect is used to express habitual past actions. We use that term in English like used to. So cuando era joven jugaba al tenis. So when I was young, I used to play tennis. De niño, Eduardo se enfermaba con mucha frecuencia. So as a child, Eduardo used to get sick very frequently. Okay, so there are things that happened over and over, and again, used to in English. Now, we also use the preterite to narrate a series of past actions or events, things that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. So, la doctora me miró los oídos, me hizo unas preguntas y escribió la receta. So the doctor looked in my ears, asked me some questions, and wrote the prescription. These all are things that happened and were done. Me di con la mesa, me caí y me lastimé el pie. So I bumped into the table, I fell, and I injured my foot. Okay. Now the imperfect is used to describe physical, emotional states, conditions, or characteristics. So things like, la chica quería descansar, se sentía mal y tenía dolor de cabeza. So the girl wanted to rest. She was feeling ill, she felt ill, and she had a headache. Ellos eran altos y tenían ojos verdes. So they were tall and had green eyes. Estábamos felices de ver a la familia. So we were happy to see our family. So these are all expressing emotional, but also physical traits and characteristics in the past. Now, the preterite and the imperfect often appear in the same sentence. In such cases, the imperfect describes what was happening. Notice I put that in red. While the preterite in blue is the action that interrupted the ongoing action. We use it a lot with cuando. Like, miraba la tele cuando sonó el teléfono. So I was watching TV, it was in progress, and when my phone rang, or when the phone rang, sorry. And so that interrupted my watching. Felicia leía el periódico cuando llegó Ramiro. So she was reading the newspaper when Ramiro arrived. Okay? He kind of interrupted her reading of the newspaper. So here's some examples. So, cuando Luis tenía 10 años, su familia se mudó a San José. Antes, ellos vivían en un apartamento, pero esa vez compraron una casa. Luis estaba tan emocionado de vivir allí. Conoció a su mejor amigo el primer día. Él se llamaba Carlos. So here you can see the imperfect is in red and the preterite is in blue. When Luis was 10 years old, age always imperfect, his family moved to San Jose. It's done, it's over, they moved, they're gone. Before, they used to live in an apartment, but that time they bought. They didn't keep buying it, they bought it once, a house. Luis was so excited, here's his emotional state, to live there. He met, okay, done, over with, his best friend the first day. His name was Carlos. Okay, we're not talking about when he first was named Carlos or if he ever ended being named Carlos, just that during that time his name was Carlos. Un día, cuando los chicos tenían 12 años, tuvieron la oportunidad de ver un partido de fútbol profesional. Fueron al estadio e hicieron cola. Por fin entraron y encontraron sus asientos. Todos los aficionados estaban gritando y los chicos empezaron a gritar también. One day, when the boys were 12 years old, they got the opportunity to see a professional soccer game. They went to the stadium and got in line. Finally, they entered and found their seats. So here, we set it up with the age, but then we have the sequence of completed actions in the past. Okay? They got the opportunity, they went to the stadium, they got in line, they entered, they found their seats. Then we have a little bit of background information here. So all the fans were shouting and the boys began to shout as well, the beginning of an action. Now, here's an example where in this paragraph you see red at the beginning and towards the end, which are both giving background information. The imperfect can give us background information while the preterite moves our story along. And in class, we're going to watch a scene from the Avengers, and we're going to talk about what is some of the background information that's going on, or description, and then what happened in the scene, showing the difference of the preterite and imperfect. Okay, bueno, nos vemos en clase entonces. Gracias.